to do a very quick webinar today on a certain topic. So didn't know what to call it, so it's called Opus Extra. So for those of you that got a chance to jump in for this, you're going to get to hear it live, and it's going to be a very, very familiar face that I've got with me today that's going to do the webinar with me. None other than Joe Marfolio. What's up, Joe?
What's happening, Cotton? Good to be on.
Yeah, looks like you get to jump on the Opus bandwagon now, man.
Yeah, that's it, man. Well, it's quite the revolution happening now, this Opus. So.
Right. The reason that this webinar is an Opus Extra is it's not a good topic that I wanted to do with the flagship Wednesdays that we're going to be doing, rolling out things that are a little bit more groundbreaking, but something that literally needs to get addressed. I see a lot of people talk about it inside the Facebook group, which is not a lot of people are quite certain how to handle their clients. So they're saying they're going crazy. They don't know what to tell their clients. They don't know what to expect, what their clients is expected from them. And I keep seeing post after post after post of this. And I thought we did a pretty good job of covering this because there's literally hours and hours and hours about this. But I wanted to do an Opus Extra because a lot of times, you know, Joe, when like someone talks about a problem and you don't have it, no one pays attention. And then they forget about it, and then they like, well, we've never talked about it before because, let's face it, we're all pretty self-centered, and if it doesn't serve us at that moment, the information's worthless. So I think that right now that after Assimilation Light, we're really at a point right now where people are starting to get clients, and they've applied everything that we've taught, but they're just not quite sure what to do from this point forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I see that even, because even when you called me today, I thought it was pretty apropos because we had a question, I think, on my hot seat this week on that same thing about not knowing what to do with the client or even trying to do too much for the client.
Exactly. And we're not going to waste a lot of time. We're not going to give a lot of fluff. We're just going to give pure value here for you to run away with, and so you can get a little bit of peace of mind. First of all, there's no right answer. This is your business. This isn't my business. How you want to run your business might not necessarily mean that that's how I want to run my business or vice versa. All I can do is tell you from my experience, and to this date, I don't know of anyone that's handled as many clients as I had and has created as many back-end processes to fluidly handle this many people and still have a shit ton of time to do whatever else they want to do, which is research and development webinars, do off promotions with Bob Proctor, other stuff. So it's enabled me to loosen up because if your back end and if your process isn't right, if your velvet ropes isn't set up correctly at the very beginning, you can't set it up later. It's too difficult. And we're going to talk about why. And the easiest way to know how to do this is this: relationships. And we've talked about this a little bit before, Joe. I can remember that we've brought it up several times in Assimilation Light, but it's a good thing to just bring up again is when you're in a relationship, generally, Joe, isn't dating all about just working out all of the what you're going to do and what you're not going to do to find out if it's a good connection and a fit to move forward? Isn't that kind of what dating is?
Yeah. Yeah, right? It's getting to know the person
Right.
that you want. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. So if I was to pull up a dating site right now, I literally get to see a list of criteria that this woman or this man is looking for, whoever you are, and they're going to list on there, look, I want a guy that's over 6 foot. I want a guy that's got a six-pack, or I don't have to have a six-pack, or I want a guy that's successful. But then that's really not what they want. Then it comes down to, listen, I can't date someone that isn't a Christian. I can only date people that are Jewish or that are Muslim or that are whatever you are. Maybe you're a Church of Scientology. I have no idea. But then it all comes down to other things. So what you're literally doing is you're trying to make the puzzle fit to find out whether things work or not. And that's all done in the very beginning, because what I want to do is I know that we don't have that many people on. I mean, we've only got a couple hundred people on right now, but I want you to follow with me on this wherever you're at. I'm just going to stay in the assimilation group. If you're in the OMG group, that's fine. Those are the only two places I posted it, but post in your respective groups. But how many of you have been in a relationship where you went into it and you didn't give any specifications about your desires or your wishes, and it went crazy? So, in other words, you had a guy that might have been a little too aggressive, and, or he talked to you in a certain way on the first date. That's a pretty good sign that that's what's going to happen, or even on a higher level later down the line. Or if if you met a guy and his first impression of him is he's telling you, look, you got to cook me dinner and you got to mow my lawn, and it's the first date. That's his expectations. He wants you to cook his dinner, mow his lawns. Or the girl says, look, I like expensive dinners and I like gifts. So, Joe, isn't that literally setting a predetermined, just kind of, you're setting the velvet ropes for the relationship right there. You're setting the expectations and you're setting the framework for how it's expected to go. Isn't that true?
That's exactly true. It's exactly what it is. I mean, it makes me think, when I started dating when I was a teenager, I remember, I think it was my grandfather, someone was talking to me and told me, when you get in a relationship, the way that dating period is how, if you get married, your marriage is going to be. So if you want to, say you meet someone who's beautiful or someone you really like, what we usually do a lot of times is not be yourself, but we be what that person wants to be, and then if the relationship goes further, then you're going to have trouble because you can't keep that stuff up. And, I think that's what a lot of people are doing, with their clients and everything else right now.
Sure. Now there's two different things, and I've never discussed this before. So you're getting a little bit of advanced sales training. I've always held all this back for a live event or for another thing. So we're going to reveal a little bit right now because a lot of you are really struggling, and I don't want you to. There's something called invisible frames, and there's something called frames. And either one, when I was talking about the girl, the really pretty girl, she's expecting, nice cars to be picked up in, or she wants you to have a nice car, nice dinners. She wants trips on the weekends. She wants handbags, shopping. And you set this relationship up. And the first couple dates, that's expected. That's what's expected. That's what's expected of me if I allow it. Now, if I tell her, listen, I normally don't do this, but, you seem to be different and unique. I don't mind doing this a few times, but real life isn't like this. That's why you see all these dating shows, the invisible frame is skewed. Like when you go to The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, I've watched it a few times years ago. I know none of these relationships can ever really work because they start out really with invisible frames, Joe, because there's guys that really aren't going to be flying the girl all over the world for the next 3 months and having expensive dinners and limos and jets and helicopters and yachts and fishing and all that. Then when they get out into the real world and have to accept problems and everything else into it, it's literally, it's like a deer in headlights. They don't know what's going on. So it can work in one way with the invisible frames, but when the real frames come in, the relationship can never work because it was never tested in those boundaries. So what I want to talk about today is clients is no different. So what I really want you, and that's the easiest analogy that I could get for you to literally make you understand the relationships that you're working with right now. So I want you to literally look at that you're going to be dating this particular client. That's it. You're going to date them. So with that, I want you, if you've never done it before, I want you to write down your set of criteria that are deal breakers that you won't work with a client with. Deal breakers. Now, we all have deal breakers if we date, even if you're married. If your husband cheats on you or if your wife cheats on you, it's a deal breaker. The marriage is over. And there has to be deal breakers with clients. And if they cross certain lines or they do certain things, then it's over. But if you don't ever sit down and decide what your deal breakers are, it's always funny is that I'm single now, really single for the first time in a long time. And, it was funny. I was talking to a girl that we're kind of talking back and forth with. And the funny is I asked her what her deal breakers was. And she goes, oh, I really don't have any. And I almost laughed. I was like, really? I go, I don't believe that. And I said, so is it okay if I have AIDS? And she goes, well, no. You can't have AIDS. I'm like, okay. I said, well, what if I had an STD? Oh, no, you can't have that. So could I be in prison right now? No. What about house arrest? No. What about drugs? No. So it's like she realized she had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deal breakers. So everyone's got a lot of deal breakers. So if you don't ask yourself, what are some client deal breakers for you right now, and put them down, it's almost kind of like your laws of your business or the commandments of your business. Now, I lightly did that when I went to my website, and we'll go there, and it's on the discovery form. That's what I've kind of put on here. And so when we go here and do this and put get started right now, this is literally kind of my deal breakers right here, and I'm listing them for everyone to see. I want an active and healthy business. And you say, well, Cotton, why an active and healthy business? Well, I can give you a great analogy. So I had a little dream chaser that came to me last week who wanted to set up, a plastic surgeon site like cars.com or like autotrader.com, where all these plastic surgeons came in and he sold them leads, and he's like, I want to get it going, and I don't have the website built. I have this. We'll have $20,000-$30,000 a month. For coming in and just all this other stuff. So on the surface, it looks like a really good deal, but it was a startup. So then I started asking the real questions. I started asking, well, let me ask you this: do you realize that you're not going to be making, that you're going to be at a loss for 12 to 18 months before one lead comes in? Well, no. Well, it can't be. I got 90 days to produce. I go, good luck. No one can do that. It doesn't sound like we're a good fit. Well, what do you mean? Well, what about the PPC route? I said, listen, how many leads do you need a month? Well, I got 5 doctors that want 100 calls a month, and I've got all this money that I can allocate towards it. How much? Well, they'll each give me, about $4,000 a month, to get it started up. I'm like, all right. Well, let's do the math on that. Joe, you know how much it is to get 500 phone calls for PPC? Dude, even if 500 phone calls, dude, at $10 a click, what is that already? I mean, it's $5K already. And you're not going to get them on every phone call. So, Joe, isn't it kind of insane to work with startups, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because they think you're a miracle worker. And you just can't do it all. You can't do everything that they want. Like that example, PPC on plastic surgery, that could be $20, $30, $40. Like,
Sure.
And so, yeah, startups are tough, definitely a tough way to go.
Sure. So I had to sit and explain to them, listen, even if you've got $20,000 a month, that's about what it's going to cost to get 500 phone calls if your page is dialed in right to literally convert. And then so they understood it. So they went away with their tail between their legs and thought it was stupid. They're really going to run into a lot of obstacles, and they'll find someone that'll literally give them what they want to hear. So what you got to do is when you have to stay set with your commandments of your business. So look at my discovery page as my commandments. I can't break them or bend them for anybody because I've already proven that this doesn't work. So I don't want to work with this. I don't want get-rich schemes. Don't want them. I don't want to work in the porn industry. I don't want to work with startups. I really want to work with a business where I can do as little work as possible. And what that generally tells me is people that literally are already spending money on advertising. That's why. Because $5,000 to them is already a normal habit of their business. This startup, $5,000 going out the window, is very, very, very precious money because it's money that they need to see a return on quickly. So that's part of the frame. That's part of the frame, and it's baked into the discovery form, and it should be baked into yours. So what I want to take a little bit of time with right now, for those of you that are either in the OMG group or in assimilation. I want to see you guys right now name some deal breakers right now that you refuse to do with clients. What are some deal breakers? What is that? I'd love to see some like things that you would absolutely never want to do. And I can tell you one of them that I do not want to be bothered all the time. Now, how many of you would agree with that? You just don't want to be bothered all the time. You want to be able to do your work, and if you're doing your work, you want to be left alone. Now, literally, that's what everybody's biggest problem is right now. Is they're like, man, I don't know how to keep up with all these reports and all this other stuff. So it's kind of like this. How many reports did you offer them? What did you tell them? Did you set yourself up? So, and I'm like looking at a lot of them that's like in right here, and we got a lot of people saying right here that my deal breaker is complaining, warning me, they're going to cancel me before we even do a transaction. Absolutely. It's a bad sign. It's almost like a girl or guy you're dating saying they're going to break up with you and you haven't even got the first kiss yet. It's a bad sign. Personal relationships go parallel with business relationships more than you would ever care to think. And you know what? You're right. Some people say porn and one monthly, and they don't want to be nagged by their clients. Right. Been doing weekly reports. So oversight of work. People don't want to be looked over the shoulder. So there you go. Now, we've got a lot of these. So, Joe, I'm going to tell people something right now that you know that I do this, but a lot of people just don't pay attention. I'm going to explain why I do it. So I don't like to get bothered because what happens is generally people want to know that you're working. They don't understand search engine optimization. And when you go to a store and you buy something, you normally have something physical that's with it. You go to the car dealer, you get a car. Buy a home, you get to bounce and touch the house, the walls. You buy a soft drink, you buy some water, you get to splash yourself in it, you get to drink it, you get to do whatever you want. But with SEO, there's a lot of magic and a lot of air moving around, isn't there, Joe?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So what would you guys do to get these people to, and we're going to get to this, Clayton. I handle this one very easily. So what do? It's pretty simple. You over-deliver on your work. Because what I found is if you do reports once a month, you're setting yourself up for explanations. That's what you're doing. You're purposely scheduling a moment to hand over a report to your parents for them to grade your work. Think about that. It's really what you're setting yourself up to do. If you do it once every 2 weeks, it's kind of the same thing. It's 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks. Now, let me ask you this. If you're in a relationship and you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend or husband or wife, do you want to speak to them once a month or do you want to speak to them daily? Or you want to hear from them daily? You want to hear from them daily. And what I do is I give them daily reports, daily ranking reports. But I brace them for that before I do it. I've got certain videos that I've already made up that I sit there and tell them, listen, I need you to be patient. It's going to be a long and bumpy ride. I'm very transparent. I want to let you see the course of the work that happens and I'm doing on a daily basis. So you're in the trenches with me. You can see how hard it is, the ups and the downs it's going to go on. And I build a little video for them and I send it out to them. It's a generic video that I've got with my company and I send it out. No, you can't see it. You need to create your own. And then they understand. Now, at this point in time, I want you to think about it. Now they are expecting daily ranking reports. Well, it does two things. One of them, mark my words, every other day they're going to check their inbox to make sure they're still getting sent. And they don't even look at it. And secondly, they're going to look at it for about 2 to 4 days. And then I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Something called banner blindness. They're going to stop paying attention to the ranking reports. So what happens is that now you're over-delivering. So when they say, well, I don't know what work you're doing. Jim, I'm sending you reports daily, all of my work daily. I already told you this. Oh, yeah, that's right. So now they can't say you're not working. And I know that a lot of you have experienced right now to where you've been like, holy shit, these guys keep bothering me. It's like, what exactly do you do? What exactly do you do during the day? How are you exactly working on my stuff? So when they see a report in that inbox daily, they know you're working. So that takes that out of their mind 100%. Yeah. So now you don't have them asking him what's going on. Joe, that sounds like a good idea.
Oh yeah, no, so when I first started, right, years ago, I probably did what a lot of people do, and I would make the reports, and I would explain, like, look at their analytics, and I hated the end of the month because I would have to go through all these clients, and I'd have to figure out something to say, find something good for them to look at with the reports, and half the time they never looked at the reports. But what I did is I was making it so I was kind of like doing a dance like a monkey, right? Like I would have to do the dance at the end of the month to show them that I was actually doing something. When it doesn't matter, right? What matters is results if it's ranking. And, so I changed that. But the funny thing is those clients that I had that were used to those stupid reports that they probably never even read, right, would never, they couldn't. That's all they wanted. So when I said I'm not sending reports out like I was or anything like that, they got upset. Like, how do I know you're working? I'm like, well, are you ranking? Are you getting calls? That's how you know. I don't have to give you a daily report of what I do. So it's like you said with that relationship. If you started on the wrong foot, sometimes it's hard to change it.
Right.
But if you start on the right foot, then it's smooth sailing. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I use is Pro Rank Tracker, and I'm going to show you. You can set it up, set it and forget it, guys. I'm just telling you right now, set it and forget it. I use Pro Rank Tracker right here. Set it. This isn't it. What do we got right here? Oh, that's right. Hold on.
Pro Rank Tracker.
Yeah. You set it and you forget it right here. This is it. Now, you can use whichever one you want. They have pretty robust reporting, so it looks like a lot. And, the more you send them, the more confused you want them, so they can shut the hell up. And that's it. Now, we're going to go back and we're going to address the rest of this question. I don't know why it's not wanting to pull up, but we'll get back to it. So, now, this is what's – listen, I'm going to tell you guys this. I don't know anything about OMG Command Center. If you've got clients, stop trying to take shortcuts. I know that Pro Rank Tracker is robust. I do it every day. I trust it. It works. I love OMG Command Center when you're a beginner, but if you really want to put on your big boy and big girl pants, you need to move to better software. It's for when you're just starting out. I don't want to trust everything that does everything. It pulls stuff off different things. I love Colin. I love what he's done. It's a great software, but listen, if you want to be professional, move to professional material, not an all-in-one, a Swiss knife. If you want to dig a ditch, I don't want to see it come out to the yard and like undo a shovel and there's a pick on the other side of it. I want a real shovel. So I want one tool to do one job right so I don't have to dick around with it and do other stuff. No Network Crusader cannot do it either. Trust me. Invest your $40 into Pro Rank Tracker and thank me later. And here's why. What are you going to do? This is why you ever hear people say don't put all your investments in one particular area. I don't put my tools in one particular place. If OMG Command Center goes down, so are you. If this goes down, it's just one thing. So I have nothing against it. I love OMG Command Center. This is what I use. If you can find something better than Pro Rank Tracker, let me know, and I'll switch over to it. So, second thing it does with these daily reports, because they're very beautiful, they're very robust, it shows everything going, there's beautiful colors in them, it looks very professional and slick. You can also white label these. Now, we had a question up above about office managers that tend to know a little too much. How many of you guys have these? How many of you guys are dealing with any office managers right now that literally think that they're the Gestapo of the business. We got a couple people here. So what happens with them, this daily reporting takes them out of the game. Takes them out of the game. And secondly, if I also, in the beginning of the conversation, remember, when you're dealing with a business, you need to say, all right, who is going to be getting these reports? Who's going to be looking at them? And this is after they pay. I don't talk about this before. I handle this after I get the money. And they're going to say, well, you know, Regina, the office manager is, and I've had to deal with this with an attorney that's in Las Vegas right now. He has an office manager that she thinks that she is literally a crowned social media queen, and she knows everything that goes on. And I basically sent a message to the attorney and said, listen, bottom line is that we're working together. I'm not working for her. I understand that she's your secretary. I always call them a secretary. I will never address them as an office manager, unless they're the owners. I always address them as a secretary to piss them off. And I said, look, you know, your secretary, she doesn't understand the work that I'm doing. She's not qualified to grade my work. It's wasting my time. Ultimately, it's just a big waste. You know, I'm at the point to where we could just cease working, and they're just always like, oh, no. Just send them all straight to me, or like do that. So that takes them out of the way. So now the daily reporting also takes them out of the game, because you're going to find the true colors real quick. You know, either they're going to get a hold of you every day, but Cotton, what if they call me every damn day? Well, I'm going to give you the second step to take care of that. This is it. One of them is this. I would be on the phone all month long with 150 plus clients that I have. That's all I would do. I want you to think about it. If I had to spend 30 minutes to an hour with every client on every one, I would not get any work done. How many of you agree with that? That'd be 150 hours a month. So at 40 hours a week, that would put 160 hours in the month. So I'm doing 8 hours a day. So that would literally put me at 150 hours a month working on all that. It's crazy, isn't it? You're like, well, Cotton, there's no way that one person can do all this. I don't get it. Well, it's pretty simple. It's called framework. And that's what this webinar is all about. It's the frame. And I'm going to set up a very solid frame in the velvet ropes. So let's pretend that this is the attorney that I'm speaking to, and we are getting ready, or he's already signed, or he's getting ready to pay. And I'm going to say, Jim, here's how I work. I'm very transparent with everything that I do. A lot of SEO agencies just send out reporting every week, every 2 weeks, or every month. I don't believe in that. I want to be fully transparent with you, and you have the ups and the downs of all the difficulties that I have to encounter every day fighting in the trenches for you. But here's the thing. I need to be able to be out on the front lines fighting for you, not reporting to you what's going on the front lines. So what I want you to do is to make sure you thoroughly understand the daily reports that I'm sending you in, because these are the progress reports I'm sending you from the front lines. Now, during the course of the month, the reason that I'm able to take on so many high-level clients and to produce such top-level work is I can't spend all of my time on the phone coddling my clients when I'm giving them daily reports from the front lines. So what I've got baked in is something very good. Now, for you, you get 2 on-demand meetings a month if you need it. So anytime that you feel that you need a meeting or that you need to speak to me, look at it as a lifeline. I will be on the phone with you inside of 48 hours. So how many of you think that that makes sense now? Just give me hashtag makes sense. So that's what we're going to do. So, and I said, now, if you have to have a second phone call, then you cannot have another meeting for another 30 days. So if they're crazy and they want to get me on the phone twice in 30 days, they can't schedule another meeting for 30 days after that. And I get every client to agree. Now, what they can do is they can get on Basecamp, and I know that there's a lot of stuff. Listen, Basecamp, Freecamp, people like to steal everything that I teach and go, oh, don't do Basecamp, do this. Hey, look, who cares? It's what I came up with 2 years ago. Hey, no, it's not the discovery form, it's the intake form. Listen, I created it, call it whatever you want, but I'm the one that taught it. I know how it works. So use Basecamp, do whatever you want to do. So I use Basecamp. They can ask as many questions as they want in Basecamp. And I'll do my best to get back to them within 2 business days of all questions. So now what it does is it enables them to use chat back and forth through Basecamp, where we have a tracked communication back and forth that's archived, that we can go back and see everything that we've discussed. And if they want to get me on the phone live, they can. They have the option to do so, but that is a privilege. It's a privilege. It isn't a right. So notice how I framed that. It's how you frame everything to your client. Now, if you look at it as, hey, look, you can call me as many times as you want. I'm here for you, man. I'm your guy. Listen, I'm going to give you reports every day. Listen, I'm going to come over and I'm going to fix your lunch, and it's going to be a sweet ham sandwich. It's going to be great, man. And then just call me or text me anytime. Listen, even if it's 2 a.m, just call me. Look at that frame right there. Pretty crazy, isn't it, Joe? But that's what a lot of OTers are doing.
Yeah, dude, it is. And it's like, I mean, what you're saying is so spot on. It's putting you in the driver's seat, right? Like every relationship, it's like a master-servant relationship. And you could argue it back and forth, but that's how it is a lot of times. Like there's one person who's in control and the other person who doesn't have as much control. And again, if you go back to that dating, that relationship, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're doing anything you ask, you know, you don't respect them as much. But if you're going after someone and they're hard to get, or they have boundaries, they have rules, you respect that. And with that client, it's like if you're doing that, like saying, oh, I'll take care of that, or just let me know, then they don't respect you. And they're going to demand so much from you, even if it's unreasonable. They're going to think you should give it to them because you've already been doing that. But if you do it like the way Cotton's saying and that framing, you're in the driver's seat. You're like, listen, I could walk from this. I don't need this. I don't need you as much as you need me. And that's the truth. They need you for their business. You don't need them. And if they feel that way, then that's where you have control of your business. The other way, forget about it, man. It's really a nightmare, and I'm sure people here have had clients that were nightmares like that.
Exactly.
I know I have.
And very, very, very true. And I was like that in the very beginning. So what we really want to do is remember, if you don't set the frame, it'll get set for you. Remember that. And secondly, remember, I want you to set the frame all the way back from the very beginning, which is you are too busy to be dealing with all this minute stuff. If you're really the best SEO in all of your city, you know, like the best attorney, you don't have time to get on the phone. They're just pleased to work with you. They're just pleased to work. Attorneys, they have some of them, you got to pay for even a consultation. It's what you got to do. So if you're the best, you got to act like the best, and you got to frame it like you're the best. And that simply means that you come in and then you say, the simple conversations that I have with them, I say, hey, Jim, I love your business. It looks extremely, extremely healthy. I think that if we add the search engine optimization that I'm able to apply to it, that we're going to have a tremendous amount of success. A couple things I want to go over with you to make sure that we're very clear about the starting point of our relationship to make sure that things run very smooth. One of them is, I don't do any sort of AdWords or any sort of pay-per-click or PPC. I don't do any social media. So in other words, I don't handle any social media, anything like that, email marketing, any of that sort. Second of all, I'm not responsible for any sales. I'm responsible for moving your website from page 3, where it's at right now, all the way to the top 3 positions. That's it. The traffic that you get from there, you're responsible for. I can't set your pricing. I can't answer your phones. I can't hire your employees. Therefore, I can't be responsible for the sales you make. Only the traffic and the visibility that I'm able to provide in Google, and that's what you're paying for. Also, I'm allowing you to contact me as much as you desire on Basecamp, and you have 2 on-demand meetings a month. And if you use both of them, then you have to wait 30 days before you can use another one, but you can still contact me as much as you want on Basecamp. The reason is I have over 150 clients. If I had to get on the phone with everyone every month, I couldn't give you the same high-level service that I give everyone else. Now, Jim, if we're on the same page with all of this, I'm excited about working with you. I'm excited about moving things forward. Do you agree with everything that I just said, or do you have any questions? That's it. That's setting the very perfect frame of the relationship. What it's telling him is, leave me the F alone. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to report to you daily. And all you got to do is write all those points down, just like I told you. Explain it to your client like that before you get going. Get them to say yes. And now there's another little thing that I always do is also, I said, listen, you're going to panic about 90 days in. You're going to ask, why isn't there as much progress as you anticipated? I'm going to remind you of this conversation that we're having. And then you're going to chuckle, and then we're going to go right back to work. And he's going, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to call you. Mark my words, they call. How many of you always get that 90-day phone call? How many of you get it right at about 2 months, 3 months, 3.5 months? You get the phone call. Things aren't just moving as fast as I anticipated they were. Is everything going all right? Is everything going on? How many of you guys get those? Especially if someone isn't on page 1, and they thought they'd be there, because let's face it, 90 days is a long freaking time. If someone told you that you had to be simply on an island, away from your family, away from television, away from internet, everything for 90 days, Joe, that's a freaking long time, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is a long time, especially for clients if they're paying you money, it can be a long time for them.
Absolutely. So with this, I really wanted to just let you guys know, and this is all this webinar was really about, is all of you that are struggling right now, you really need to either get the courage, or you need to sit down and come up with your commandments of your business. I did it with mine, and I put it on this page right here. Then I've got a few more that I let them know. So look, these are the reports right here. They look amazing. They look amazing on mobile. The cool part about it is with some big clients, I even create apps for them. They can pull up the app and look at it anytime they want. You can do this right here. So it's really, really cool stuff. So with that, I want you guys to literally write down your deal breakers, as you would with any relationship. Obviously, you're not going to let someone hit you if you're in a personal relationship. You might not let anyone curse at you. You might not let anyone speak down to you. You know what? Write down everything that you can think of that's important to you. And then you really need to lay these down before the relationship starts. And if they don't agree with it, you're not going to have an ideal client. Because I've seen a lot of posts in the OMG assimilation group to where people are like, man, I just don't understand. He's asking me for what work I'm doing in this. That's because you didn't build a frame before you started. You let them build it, and now you're walking through theirs. And that's what the Velvet Ropes is all about. From the moment you first start speaking to them, that they filled out your discovery form, to the moment you give that initial phone call, to all the way through, you need to be leading them down each path, each path, each path. So that's really the main message that I wanted to get across today. What we'll do is, if anyone's got any questions about anything that we've discussed, put them in the GoToWebinar. We'll spend a little bit of time going through some lessons or some questions right now. answering something that you might be stuck with or something. But ultimately, guys, set your framing up correctly. In your personal relationships and any relationships, when you come and when you're honest with people and you tell them what you want directly up front, what they're going to get, how it's going to go, they can either say, yeah, I like it, no, I don't. And you need to remember this. The most valuable thing that you need to remember as well, not everyone is meant to be your client. I can't assume that every person that I go out on a date with is meant to be my wife or my soulmate or my girlfriend or even my friend. Some of them are just downright out crazy, right, Joe? You know.
Yeah, exactly. Like you got to be ready to walk away. And if you think about it, if you have those commandments, right, like I'm saying, and they don't want to abide by them, you're going to have trouble down the road, right? It ain't going to work out. They're not going to be the kind of client that you even want. They're going to affect you from getting more clients. They're going to affect you from the time you have to allocate to them. And, you know, and I like to kind of like what you said at the end about preparing them or setting that frame for their expectations. You know, if you tell them, look, you'll be ranking, it's like, I need to be ranking in 30 days. Oh, yeah, I could do that. Then 30 days, in 90 days, you say you can do that. 90 days comes, you look like a chump. But if you say, listen, it's going to take 6 to 8 months. That's the truth. And say you do it in 5 months, then you look like a hero. But it could be the same client, and it's the way, you know, it's all the way you frame it.
Absolutely. We'll jump to some of the questions. Darcy, yes. ProRank Tracker sends out daily reports if you need them to. You can send out daily, weekly, monthly, or even bi-weekly, but I use them to send out daily reports. And believe me, sometimes if they miss a day, they're sending me a message on Basecamp saying, hey, I didn't get my email. So secondly, the most important point that I wanted to bring about these daily reports before I answer some more questions is that this is so important. And it's only happened to me one time, but I had a client back 1.5 years ago win a chargeback. And the chargeback was for $35,000 from the very beginning. And I delivered on everything. He was just a dick. That's it. And I did not have the necessary proof that I was working. I didn't have it. But now I do. I have daily reports. Because what I do is I have them send the email. This is what I would do. Here's another little trick. Being this is a spontaneous webinar, I'm sorry, it's scattered all over the place. I just knew what I wanted to talk about, but I didn't have everything laid out in order. Always create a support or a reports, like reports at cottongrammar.com or reports at your agency. And I want you to send a copy of every report that you send every client. I want you to carbon copy that email address as well. It is proof backup that you have worked for them every day, 7 days a week, as long as you've sent them. It's also proof of work. So I want to make sure that everyone has learned this very, very important lesson. Give me hashtag I get it. I just want to make sure that we get it, that if you've heard it. So just create another email. It could either be just 1234 at your domain, whatever. I have mine at reports at cottongrammar.com, and I send all the reports to that email address. And so now, if they say, we're going to charge you back for any reason, guys, you could get psychos. There's a lot of psychos out in the world. You see the news. If you have someone that's running in a pinch, think about it. This daughter got in an accident. They didn't have money, and they got to keep the business going. They got to find a way to get $25,000. Guess what? You're going to be the first they're going to try to get that money back from to survive. It's all about you. So when that comes down to it is, now you've got written documentation, you have an electronic trail that you worked for them and that you reported to them on a daily basis as an employee. And now they lose 100%. So that's a very, very, very important thing for you guys to learn there as well. But next question is, Robert says, bitches be crazy. This is true. Guys be crazy too. Guys can be more crazy than the girls. So bros be crazy too.
Oh, yeah.
Says, what do you say at the 90-day phone call? I just got one, and the guy is threatening me and called me a fraud because I brought him from nothing to page 3, and he's not on maps. I don't know how to frame him right, how to handle it. You know what? This is a good question. And here's another thing that I really, really, really am adamant about. I never, ever, ever promise maps. Ever. Ever. And this is exactly what I say. Well, Cotton, what about maps? I really want to get in maps. I said, listen, it's off the table. I do not guarantee maps. Generally, this is how maps works in Google. What happens is, if we get you inside the top 5, you generally automatically pop up in the maps. Once we get up into the top 3 positions, I don't see that you're in maps, I will take the necessary steps to check to see why you're not there. But there's no such thing as a high organic ranking without maps. So therefore, us talking about maps is a waste of time. So at any point down the line that you're going to ask me about maps, this is what I'm telling you, I don't do them. I will look into getting you ranked in maps when you're in the top 5 positions, and then we'll check again when you're in the top 3. That's what you got to tell them. Do not ever, ever, ever get involved in this map situation. And second of all, what do you do on the 90-day phone call? It's this. You didn't frame them right. So I don't know how to help you if you didn't frame them right from the very beginning. All you can simply say is exactly what I told them. If you guaranteed that you would get him in maps, and he's on page 3, you didn't set up that, hey, you got to be in the top 5 before you're going to show up in maps. So you kind of got yourself boxed in a corner. Now, if you never brought up maps, and he's saying, why aren't I in maps? Then you can explain to him why you can't. Now, I've even got a crazy client right now who literally, or a big client, they're mad because I've got them, number 1, in 5 maps in a particular area, and they're wanting to know why they're not in 15 in the same city for different keywords. I'm like, people, you got to chill. I go, you cannot cross-dominate like that with different keywords. Your website, nor is your Google Plus business page set up to do that. And I said, what you're asking for is impossible, and it's really just, it's just greed at this point. I said, you've got more number 1 map rankings than anyone I've worked with in the history of my agency. So let's just slow it down and be happy with what we got with all these number 1s. So ultimately, you're just not going to be able to please a lot of people, and that's what's going to happen. So, Craig, Joe, do you got any advice for him about how you can handle that?
Yeah, I don't know. Like you said, because they're on page 3, and I think it's just the framing in the beginning, and it is all it is. I mean, that's why that framing in the beginning is so important. What to do now? I don't know. I would just tell them, look, it's a hard keyword. I don't know what you told them when you sign them, right? Like if you said you'll be ranking in 30, 60 days and they're mad, that's one thing. That's going to be hard to justify. If you didn't tell them anything, right, then you could just say, listen, it's not going to happen in 90 days. So we need to know what you promised them in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly. Someone's wanting to know if someone breaks one of your
told them 9 to 12 months. So
right.
If you told them 9 to 12 months, then you should tell them, revisit that conversation.
One of the most important things that is brought up, Joe, if you don't let people know, listen, are you sure that I want to make sure that you understand this. This is going to take, I'm not even saying 6 months now. I'm saying 8 months. I've moved all my stuff to 8 months. I said, look, are you real certain that you're okay? And see, I don't expect you to do this. I don't care because I'm making enough money. Now, are you absolutely certain you're okay with giving me $40,000 over the next 8 months? And that's about how long it's going to take. 8 to 10 months. Are you okay with that? And I sit there and I just listen to him. Now, I know that's scary for you guys. Listen, I don't have time to be, trust me, there could be a client take up all of your day. One client can. If I can't get them to repeat back certain things to me, gone. I don't need your 5K a month. It's not. I'm telling you what, and I mean this with sincerity. Someone could siphon 5K a month from me, and I would never even know it was gone, or I never even knew it got added in there. I don't even know. So what I'm saying is it's irrelevant. Your sanity is more important than sometimes money. And I'm telling you right now, if you hold out for the right deals, the deal you turn down today could cost you 4 deals down the road, or the deal that you don't take today could get you another 4 deals down the road. So, Ryan, I wish I could give you better advice, but you just got to go back and you got to remember what you told them. And if you told them it was going to take 6 months, you can say, look, I told you. Why are all of a sudden we changing everything at this point now? So that's why I have this conversation. Are you okay? I just say, look, everyone always gives me a call about the 90 to 100 day mark, wanting to know what's going on. I'm going to remind you when you give me that phone call. And there's always a chuckle back in the beginning. And then when they do it, I remind them of it. Oh, yeah. Now I remember.
Well, and Cotton, I think that's probably a big takeaway. One of the big takeaways people should have is what you do when you tell them that it's going to take 8 to 10 months, and then you say, now in 90 days, remember this conversation. Like those few words, that's powerful, because when they call you, you just say, they're going to remember it instead of them saying, I don't ever remember you saying that. Like so that should be a huge takeaway right there. Just telling them, remember this conversation.
Right. We're getting a lot of SEO questions, but if it's strictly just not what on our discussion, we're just kind of jumping past them and just save it for something else. Next one in here is, which pro rank tracker plan do you recommend for newbies? It's all based on keywords. So however many keywords that you need for your clients. So for instance, if just add up all the current keywords that you're tracking for your clients, and that's what you do. And then you can, it's easy to just get a higher package if you need more keywords tracked. So just kind of guesstimate how many keywords you're tracking right now, and then that's the plan you would get. Does ProRank Tracker even track your website? When it's yes, it even tracks YouTube. It even tracks YouTube, local, everything. A lot of people, thanks. It says, Cotton, I have a meeting set up with 2 potential clients at the same time. The first one referred me to the other based on the video analysis. Along with, they pretty much want to meet to seal the deal, according to them. Any thoughts on whether this could be a bad thing, meeting at the same time? I don't know. Is it the same niche? Is it the same people in the same niche? Could be a good thing. I mean, there's nothing better. I mean, if Joe and I were planning on buying the same car together, and if we went to the dealership together, you can almost seal that deal up. Joe and I's making each other feel better, spending money. So I would say it's a pretty good chance it's happening. But if Joe and I are both showing up to buy the same damn car, it could get a little crazy. So that's why. So I would need more specifics on that. So just a couple more questions here. So the PRT reports are proving a relationship that you get are actually doing anything to ranking them. So I understand what you're coming from, Carol, but here's the whole point. Now we're talking about another question. I've never got into that. So there's people that are going to want to know, well, I want to see your work. How many of you guys have a hard time with this? How many of you have a hard time with people saying, look, I want to see what work you're doing? What work you're doing? And it's no different than anything else. What you simply do is I've done it and it's worked for me ever since I have started. And it's this. Well, Cotton, we need to get a good idea of what work you're doing. Here's what I want you to really hear. Cotton, you're going to be our employee, and we need you to check in with us, and we need to go over the work that you're doing. Make sure that it's right. So let's reverse all of this. How many of you guys are really, really with me that you feel that that's what they're saying? They're like saying, look, you need to check in with me. I need to make sure that you're working. I need to make sure that you're doing everything correctly for my business. Give me a hashtag, yeah. If you're with me, that's what you're hearing when they say it. And it gets you upset. And I'm going to give you I'm going to give you the most devastating sentence. It's the most devastating sentence about this that you're ever going to get. So we're getting a lot of yeses, Okay, and this is what I do. And Joe, this one stings. You got to have, dude, you got to have a swinging pair to even say it. And I do. Jim, so let me understand this straight. You want me to report into you and show you everything that I'm doing so you can make sure that it's getting done right. Did I hear that correctly? Yeah, we would really like that. Jim, what makes you think you're qualified to grade my work? Pretty deafening, isn't it? Think about that. How do they think that they are qualified to grade your work? And I say that to them. And they have no damn response. I said, Jim, listen, I'm not going to come in the courtroom and critique whether you just botched a case or not, or whether you did it right. I don't expect you to come into my business and tell me whether I'm doing a good job or not. I go, this is a hands-off operation. What we do is a lot of proprietary stuff that you can't learn it. You can't go to university to do it. We have our employees and staff sign NDAs about everything that we do. If at any point that you feel like that you're not seeing enough progress in the reports to satisfy the amount of money that you're investing in us, that's why we don't offer contracts to give you an escape clause. So you can just hit the eject button and get out. But let's just make it very clear before we start the relationship. I am not qualified to grade your work. You're certainly not qualified to grade mine. And we need to get that very clear before we start. And if we can get an understanding on that, then we can get off to a very good start. That's exactly how you handle it. Now, I know that seems harsh. It seems pretty bold, doesn't it, Joe?
Yeah, it does. But it does seem bold. But it again, it goes with everything you're saying. It's that framing. It's that putting you in that position where they have respect for you. And, and that's what you have to do, because believe you me, they'll really try to get it out of you. And even if, like, someone asks, like, what if they break your commandments? Like, what if you settle that and then they go against something? It's like you don't change your stance. Like I had a client who it was the private school my kids go to, and I had set everything up, and then this new administrator girl came in and she thought she was going to tell me how to do everything, and it was like, no, it was like, well, this isn't, and she's like, we have to talk, and I made her go and call my assistant to schedule time with me, and then I made her and the owner get on, and I cleared it all up, the way things were going to go. But it's like I didn't answer the phone and be like, oh, yeah, okay, whatever you need, or let me get. So it's like you have to keep that frame throughout the whole relationship, I think. But that comment right there is killer. Like how can you grade my work? It's like I remember you've been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
And I've actually used it a couple of times, and it's a powerful statement.
Well, dude, it is a showstopper in the conversation. There's dead silence. And you know what? I've not had anybody fight me on it. No one. They just don't know what to say. They're spellbound when I say that, because it's true. They're going to sit there and they're going to try to grade my work, which is absolutely ridiculous. So,
yeah. And two, if you do that pause, like if you say it and pause, right, I think it makes them even more uncomfortable. Like if you just say it, pause, not try to fill that dead air, but just pause. And it puts you in that power position. They're not going to say anything. They're going to respect you more because, let's face it, not many people have the gusto and the guts to even say something like that.
Sure. And also, guys, be very careful about the delivery on this. It is a tightrope. What makes you think you're qualified to grade my work? Now you're fighting. It's just like, Jim, I just got a simple question for you. What makes you think you're qualified to grade my work? It's very, very just, chill. You got to say it chill. And then when they say that, they just don't know what to say. So Sherilyn asked the question, how much time do you spend on a client a week? I'll answer, but I'm not going to explain. Less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes. And if I'm spending more than 5 minutes, I've got something broken in my system. So next one, Jamie wants to know, how do we reframe our current clients? They're definitely needed to reframe. Well, you can gently reframe them by here's the thing. If you feel like that you've not set the framework right on a particular client right now and you haven't had any problems with them, you can go back and you can set the frame again. And that's by gently sending them videos. So, for instance, you can send them, I've got a very humorous video that I send my clients, Did I Break Your Website?, which talks about rankings fluctuating, the Google bounce, rankings fluctuating, going up and down, or how long does it take to rank my website. It's like, look, I know you're probably saying, man, he's worthless. So we go on this. It's a very fun, light way. Remember when we first talked at the very beginning, I told you that it would take X amount of time. I'm still wanting to let you know, feel confident with all the reporting that we're giving you. We're on top of your situation every day. That's it. If you want to do one video and send out all your clients about algorithms coming out or this or that, but you can go back and set the frame by reminding them of things in the conversation now so it doesn't happen in the future. For instance, and it's very easy for people to do this with personal relationships. Let's say I was dating someone for 5 months and I think that she's doing something that could be a deal breaker. I don't know what that would be. But what I would likely do is I said, man, thank God you're not like this, because if you were like this, we could never date. And then she'd go, well, I am like that. And then you can find out very, very, very quick. So it's better to find out now than later. And with SEO, it's not as harsh as a relationship. You can just simply go back and remind them of things that you said. Just remind them that you can send a video to them. Here's a video update on some things that go on. I've found that if you really feel that you've got a client that's a little shaky, or let's say your most expensive client, that you don't have a lot of clients, this has saved some people too. If it's a very big client, like 10,000 or more, or 8,000, which your biggest client, if you lost them, you'd have a big gaping hole in your income. What I would do at that point, I would definitely do a video update. That way, it's all you talking. And if I've got to give an update to someone, like I've got a client, I've still got my client that's $55,000 a month. Sometimes they go, Cotton, can we have a meeting just so we can go over everything? And I said, let me get you an update. And they go, okay. So I do a 15-minute video going over everything that's been going on and describing them everything, send it to them. Now they're out of my hair and they have to listen to me. And I don't get questions. Now it's effort to send questions back. Tell me if that makes sense, yes or no. So that's exactly what you can do if you feel that you have to give a bad report, or that the rankings aren't moving, or you just got an intuition that your client's uneasy, you heard it, in the last message or something. It really helps sending them a video update. 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And that's them strictly listening to you. You don't want to be on a phone call, ever, giving an update if you have to be. Because now there's interaction. Hold on, Cotton. Now, let's go back over this. Because now what's going to happen is you don't know if they're trying to impress people on the phone call, trying to look good, they've got a bad position, and they're trying to win respect back, and you're the target. So anytime you can avoid a phone update, do so with the video update, and you'll be fine. That way they can pass it around the office. Not only that, they can look at it over and over again. And there's proof of what you've said, what you've shown, and they can look at it at their own leisure. Now you're not feeling rushed. The meeting's done on your time. That's another way to save time and to kind of streamline. So these are some tips that we've given, and I'll look for a couple more questions. Is PayPal a bad way? Is PayPal the way to go with the potential client for chargeback? Well, there's two different ways. I'm not going to get into a lot of this because I don't want to create hysteria, but PayPal does one of two different things. So if someone transfers money over to their PayPal account, you're good. because we sell an intangible product. Now, there is something that I use, which is called a intangible goods and deliverable and marketing understanding kind of thing that I use that just goes and tells people that, look, I want you to understand that I'm selling you an intangible product that you can't have, and that every time you pay, you're agreeing that you're satisfied with services. So that is inside my proposal. They click off on it and do it. So do that. So what happens is, but if someone pays with a credit card via PayPal, here's what happens. They go to MasterCard and they say, MasterCard, Cotton Grammar's a scam. And I paid them through PayPal. So now they just literally throw their hands up in the air and walk away. And now MasterCard fights PayPal. So then PayPal comes to me and PayPal goes, Cotton, help us. We don't know what to do on this. We want to fight for you, but we need info. So that's where the daily reporting comes in, and the contract, not the contract, but the marketing understanding that every time they pay, that it's an agreement of services, that they're getting an intangible product, and that they're basically paying for organic search engine optimization consulting is what they're paying for. I've got it in my letter of understanding. And so I can show that to them. I can show them the trails of all the email that I've done. And PayPal told me how to help me fight them when I lost that $35,000 chargeback. And that's what they told me to do. That's what I've done. So that's what PayPal needs to whip someone's ass. Because if someone just transfers the money over, PayPal goes, too bad, so sad. It's intangible. We can't get in the middle of that. But if they pay via credit card now, Visa, American Express, or someone go after PayPal, PayPal has to step up and pay attention. How many of you guys kind of understand that? So you know not to get into a little bit of heated water. That's why it's very important to do the daily reports for an electronic work trail that you've been doing. So just remember that. So good. One more question and we'll tune out. I didn't want to keep you guys here all day. This is just kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. Really nothing. Hold on here. Let me just read this one. Hey, Cotton, I'm waiting to start focusing solely on client consulting for my agency when someone else does most of the SEO. My strength is in sales and push my normal job include calling. All right, look. This is what, and I can even tell you guys right now, and I can put it on the record. I've already told Joe what I'm going to speak about at OMG Live, and I've been working on it. I'm anxious to get it out. One of the things that I really want to get in here is what I hear is, guys, the most dangerous. I'm going to talk about at OMG Live. This is going to be one of the most powerful things you're ever going to hear. Is don't ever allow yourself to believe that you're a victim. It is the number one cause of destruction of yourself in internet marketing and everywhere. And when you have talk like, well, I would do this, but man, I've got all this stuff over here, and it's too hard, and it's playing the victim. There's one thing that I've seen, there's one common denominator that I've seen through every successful person that I've met, and I'm starting to, one of the people that I look up and admire is Tony Robbins, and one of the things he's always done is he's dissected and interviewed successful people. And I've been starting to do that. I've been, been able to get more close with Bob Proctor and just other people and just steal their wisdom. And what I've noticed about all the people that are the most successful is they never allow themselves to believe that they're a victim in any circumstance. And they never, and circumstance, don't let circumstance be your victim. So when you go, you know what, this week there's too much stuff going on, there's too much kids, but I'm a single mother, but I'm this, but I'm that, but I'm this. It's a victim. You're making yourself the victim. And when you make yourself the victim, guess what? It's an excuse for you not to succeed. So that's how I'm going to answer that question. Be very, very, very careful. And you guys have known me long enough to know right now, be very careful what you say to yourself and what you start to believe. If I believe right now, oh my God, I've got too much work to do. I mean, I've got OMG and I've got my business, and now Bob Proctor's pulling at me this way, and Joe, damn it, I've got to talk to Joe on the phone because he's my friend, and he's taking too much time, and that damn Puerto Rican Gregory Ortiz, and he's on right now too. I have to talk to him because he's my friend. Oh my God, I've just got so much work to do. I can't do it. So you know what I do? I cut out the Puerto Rican. I'm just kidding, Gregory.
Oh, thanks, God. Appreciate that.
So what I'm saying is, guys, be very careful. Don't allow yourself to be the victim. Just don't. Just don't. I mean, you hear it from everyone. But I, only if, but this. No, just don't. And you're going to get the expanded, just groundbreaking version of that here in a couple months. So with that, we're going to sign out, guys. This has been an Opus Extra. There will be a replay. We're actually, as soon as I'm able to download it and get it up, I'm going to put it in the members area. I want everyone to watch this, for everyone that's having a problem with clients. I apologize if we weren't able to get to all the questions or if anything else that we were getting problems with client consulting. Joe, anything you wanted to add to this lesson? I appreciate you coming on for this.
Oh no, I think it was covered really, really well. So, and this is this recorded? We're recording this, right? This is gonna be in the
Definitely recorded. Yes.
Yeah. So this is I think this is gonna help a lot of people. So I was glad I was able to come on.
Mm-hmm. Great. So, guys, if you have a great weekend. Like I said, I just kind of felt compelled to do this a couple hours ago and just called up Joe and said, hey, you want to jump on and do a webinar? So this is what Opus Extra is. You're just getting a little bit extra more stuff. Just didn't fit in with what we wanted to teach on Wednesday or the next coming months. We really want to focus on other stuff. So this doesn't have anything to do with link building or anything else. There is one thing I will say before we go. Guys, listen. I'm going to go on about a 2-minute rant right here, and then we're going to close it out. Listen to me very carefully. I've earned a lot of your trust with a lot of stuff. I've never given you a lot of bad advice. And this is what I want to tell you. There is no program, there is nothing that you need out there at the moment that is going to help you with search engine optimization. We have taught you everything. It's all in the webinars. It's all in your members area. I promise you. I give you my word. If you think there's a trick out there that you don't know that's going to change the game, it doesn't exist. And I can promise you this. Clients don't respond to tricks, and you're not going to get a trick that's going to get you a client. Just remember that. All these people out here that don't have a pot to piss in, that are coming out with courses, that are coming out with how you can make money here or there, show me the proof. Guys, be smarter. I see so many of you guys, if someone says, ooh, I got something new coming out, and you chase it like it's going to be the next answer. I promise you that if I find something, I'll share it with you. I'm not going to hide it from you. I'm not scared. I brought on a guy that's brilliant, Ryan Stewart. I could be scared of him, but I'm not. I want to learn from brilliant people, and I'll bring brilliant people on, but I'm telling you right now, you don't need anything else as far as SEO goes. So what I wanted to explain is people were a little worried, hey, why did assimilation end? It ended because I felt that I taught you everything that I could in 6 months with search engine optimization because there's nothing else. I would have had to have retread and rehashed everything, and that wouldn't have been fair to you. So what I did was I sat back for the next 5 months, and I created something unique and brand new. And what Opus really is it's going to show you how to drive traffic organically to websites. And ultimately, that's what business owners want. But we're going to do it through different ways, through social media and through different tactics. And yes, it's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to open up and be brilliant for you, just like LinkedIn. You're going to be able to find that we're going to be able to sell Instagram marketing for $1 a follower. We got these lessons coming up. Twitter, the same way. I'm going to show you how to grow all this stuff. And you're going to get to see it's opening up OMG to a bigger area. So I'm telling you, if you're not understanding SEO or you're getting stuck with it, go back and rewatch Greg's stuff. Go back and watch Fletch. Go back and watch some Assimilation Light. Go back and, you know what, if you really want to get some treats and you're like, well, man, why did the simulation end? And I don't understand it. Go back and watch the replays from last year. They're still groundbreaking. It's stuff that no one's talking about still. So I could have retreaded last year, or I could have brought you brand new, fresh material. And that's what I wanted to do for you. So with that, that's what Opus is about. You do not need anything else. There's no miracles out there. The only miracle is inside of you. Trust me when I say that. Stop chasing shit. It's just not going to work. I promise you. I promise you. I've given you LinkedIn. I've given you Meetup.com. I've created the discovery forms for you. I've did so much creativity for you. Believe me when I say this. You don't need anything else. And it's not because I'm scared you're going to go run off and do something. It's because I care about you. And I want you to save your money. No matter what comes up, you have all the information that you need about SEO. And if something changes in SEO that's so dramatic, Greg and I and Joe and Fletch will all be on it. We'll have a special webinar just like this. We'll explain it, make it free for every OMG member, and that's how we do it. I promise you. There's nothing out there that you need to know as far as tricks go. Tricks don't work. Guess what everyone's been doing for the last 3 years? Greg Morrison SEO. The tricks that were taught at OMG #1 don't exist anymore. Tricks that were taught at OMG2 don't exist anymore. They don't exist. Tricks don't work. Solid information and SEO does. Organic traffic straight to business websites and into other sites is. We're going to show you how to do that. Opus is also going to follow. We're going to take a site from 0 to 100,000 visits per month, and you're going to see it in analytics. That's what it's about. That's my rant. Gregory, because you were on and didn't say a word like a creeper, any last words?
No, I was just happy to be on and listen to everything you were talking about, Cotton. I know what you went over today has personally helped me many times. Just as I mentioned to Joe yesterday, I closed a client yesterday and framed them the same way I always frame all of them, thanks to the way you taught it, and it works out perfectly. So thanks.
Sounds great. All right, guys. Pleasure serving you guys as always. We'll see you guys on Wednesday with an incredible lesson lined up for you. So we'll see you then.